Well, the Bruins did it, except not with who we expected. Ethan Garbers? What?
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this reaction edition of Locked On UCLA. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making the show your first listen each and every day. It's free where you get your podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe, because the Bruins, they're now 5-2, 2-2 in Pac-12 conference play, and have won 3 straight to dominate the Stanford series by winning 42-7 over the Stanford Cardinal. A game the Bruins were clearly favored to win on the road at the Farm, and they ended up dominating the end of the series against Stanford before the teams maybe never play again. Probably alive. It'll be some time until these two teams play again in the foreseeable future. The big story in this game for UCLA was the fact that just before the game, it was slightly broken that, hey, UCLA might be playing Ethan Garbers. Well, it came out to be true where he did play. He started the game. We saw 3 quarterbacks. We saw Ethan Garbers. We saw Dante Moore. And we saw Chase Griffin all take snaps. Although the game was well in hand by the time Dante Moore came in the game late, and then Chase Griffin coming in later than that. So the big debate comes in. Zach, were you wrong? Was everybody wrong? Was Chip wrong by keeping Dante Moore in there for so long and letting Garbers throw? Did Chip Kelly ruin the youngsters' confidence by having the freshman not play against a terrible pass defense for the Stanford Cardinal, which is just one of the worst defenses in the country guarding the pass? How is this going to help UCLA going forward if you had a bounce back opportunity and you don't let the freshman go and you switch quarterbacks right when this would have been a big test? You had a freshman who could have, with his struggling chances, go against a bad defense, and instead we see Garbers shine. And in the end, you have to go out there, play turnover-free football, which is exactly what Ethan Garbers did. 2 touchdowns passing, 240 yards, 20 for 28 throwing the football, which is not something we've seen Dante Moore do in quite some time. Carson Steele, 3 touchdowns, 76 yards, 20 carries on his birthday. And J. Michael Sturdivant finally catches the touchdown in way too long of a time. 5 receptions, 54 yards, and a tub for him. The Bruins defense, spectacular. Didn't let Stanford get anything going. Ashton Daniels threw a pick despite throwing for more completions, more yards than Garbers. He only threw for 1 touchdown. And this is the Stanford of old when they're really surging under former coach David Shaw. This is a Stanford team that had 10 penalties, right? They used to be one of the least penalized teams in the country. 10 penalties, 113 yards. More turnovers than their opponents, so 2 turnovers in the Bruins, a pick and a fumble forced and recovered by UCLA. Only 24 yards rushing and an inefficient rushing offense on a 1.4 yards per carry, 1 for 10 on third down, 0 for 4 on fourth down, 1 for 14 overall in third and fourth downs combined, and only a touchdown scored by the Stanford Cardinal. The Bruins truly chopped down the tree in this matchup against Stanford. In a game, the Bruins were favored by more than about 17 points. They were easily going to win this game in my mind, and they came out and they absolutely did it. Sometimes you just got to dominate teams you're supposed to play, and while the rivalry will sadly come to an end for now, the Bruins did what they needed to do. In the day where the Trojans lost and they didn't want to answer questions after that, we can give more respect to Dante Moore and the Bruins for having to answer all those questions after their previous losses. But now the question remains after this victory, even more so than the losses. Where does UCLA go here in the quarterback? Go from here now into the quarterback position against Colorado. An equally porous defense against the pass. A bit better, a bit more explosive offensively. So this UCLA-Colorado game will be a lot closer heading into the Rose Bowl with Colorado after the bye, choking it to Stanford fairly recently. Do the Bruins go with Garbers? Do you go with the hot hands and make sure you play turnover-free football and rack up wins and play the safe route? Or do you give the freshman another shot? This is a toss-up, and I'm not sure you can keep waffling back and forth if you're Chip Kelly. Is this a day off? Is this a breather? Let the Bruins coast to victory? But how do you walk into the quarterback room, see someone who played well in Ethan Garbers, and avoided 1, an interception, 2, a pick six for the first time in a few weeks. And yes, you did see Dante Moore 4 for 5, 20 plus yards passing, and the Bruins coasted to a win in the game that they should have. Does that make us irritated that the Bruins couldn't beat a Utah team that they could have beaten on the road? Could have competed a little bit better against Oregon State in their most recent loss on the road. That's only time will tell, and how much Dante Moore developed from those losses, I don't know. I'm just not entirely sure where Chip Kelly goes. But Garbers played well. It's nice to see him, the Bruins defense, continuing to force turnovers, all the good things. And hey, the final 42-7, for once, my pregame prediction score, fairly close. I said 35-7, and it was 42-7. It was pretty close. I was almost accurate. When you look at the keys to the game, it was build QB confidence. Well, that helped early with Garbers. The Bruins ran the football. Don't forget about the run game. So when they were moving the ball down the field, you had the likes of 1, you built Garbers' confidence going down the field to start. 2, they didn't forget about the run game. They had 3 Carson Steele rushing touchdowns. And then 3, don't let up, which is what the Colorado Buffaloes did against Stanford when they were up 29-0 at half. UCLA said, absolutely not. This is not going to happen when we play Stanford. And of course, Chip Kelly, there's no love lost for Stanford in years past, having to go through the Cardinal with the Oregon Ducks. UCLA fans, hey, so many years going through L's against the Stanford Cardinal that it's nice to see the Bruins get some dubs, win 4 of the last 5, 3 in a row, and easily get this one done. The scary thing is now, again, the quarterback question, which we're going to debate all week long. I'm going to go into more depth on the Monday episode about, hey, how did Garbers look? What does this mean for going forward for UCLA? And is this a 2-quarterback system? Again, Colin Schlee, no action today. And it's unfortunate after having to leave that Oregon State game early for the Bruins. Yet here we are, and UCLA just trying to find ways to be successful again and again. And hey, for all my talk about, hey, we need a dual threat quarterback, Ethan Garbers, 8 carries, 51 yards rushing. So, hey, maybe we didn't know what the Bruins had. Garbers didn't really show this in any of his previous appearances as dynamic as he could be, as he was against the Cardinal tonight. Now, we can't get too excited. This is Stanford. They're not that good. The Bruins are supposed to do this tonight against a Stanford team that's lost to Sacramento State and found ways to not be so good this season, yet they have a big win on the road against Colorado. We'll take what we're given. UCLA still alive mathematically in this Pac-12 championship race, but most importantly, a chance to keep winning. USC looking absolutely beatable, and the Bruins, an opportunity this year to get 10 wins, which is why we should be excited and see how this team grows and develops for the rest of this season in 2023. I'm excited, 42-7 dub. Garbers played well. I'm happy for him. Yes, I've been always backing Dante Moore, but I'm still happy for the kid to go out, play well, get his opportunity, and dominate. That's important. Now, what does that mean going forward for UCLA? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. 5-2 UCLA, 2-2 in conference play. The Cardinal dropped to 2-5, 1-4 on this reaction edition of Locked On UCLA. And we'll tell you in a moment what this episode is brought to you by. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players like pros and sharks, you pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch your winnings roll in. It's easy to withdraw, make it easy gameplay, and there's an enormous selection of players and stat types, which is why Prize Picks is number 1 in daily fantasy sports apps. And the other thing, too, is they've got player injury insurance. All you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege for a deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege for a deposit match up to $100. Again, daily fantasy sports made easy. While there's a lot of uncertainty in the world today, it's important to be prepared because, hey, there can lead to supply chain shortages for medications, inability to get medication in a timely manner. The Jace case, personalized emergency medication kit that has 5 essential antibiotics that can treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. They have dozens of add-on medications, and you can choose the medications that best fit you and your family's unique needs. They're continually expanding all these medication offers, and hey, All you have to do is buy a gift card for you, your family, or your loved one so they can get a Jace case of their own. Do that online by going to jacemedical.com. Enter the code LOCKEDON at checkout for a $20 discount on your order. That's a promo code LOCKEDON at JaceMedical, J-A-S-E medical.com. That's going to do it for Locked On UCLA today. Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer wrapping things up on Locked On UCLA. Hit that subscribe button, download, support. Thanks for your love. 42-7, Locked On UCLA Bruins fans. Hey, UCLA beats Stanford. Hands up, 8 clap time. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA, fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Go Bruins.